watching WGXA Morning News right here on Fox 24. Well, let's start you guys off with a live look at the White House this morning. The battle for the presidency continues as candidates campaign all across the nation. Although the presidential election isn't until next year, one candidate is linking his campaign to a former president.
That's right, we're talking about the storied relationship between former President Barack Obama and Joe Biden. It's practically invisible on the campaign trail, but it's been described as an extraordinary partnership and a special bond. A complicating factor for the former vice president as he woos Democratic primary voters and faces a stiffer challenge from his rivals. Sinclair political correspondent James Rosen has more.
One of my proudest moments in those 8 years of standing along President Obama.
At all points in this, his third attempt to win the Democratic presidential nomination, Joe Biden has doggedly attached himself to the legacy of President Obama, under whom Mr. Biden loyally served as vice president.
President Obama, I think, did a heck of a job. The senator says she's for Bernie. Well, I'm for Barack.
Yet from the former president seen Tuesday addressing the Obama Foundation, there has been no hint of an endorsement for his former number two.
The world is messy. There are ambiguities.
This glaring withholding of support from the nation's most popular Democrat could loom more costly for Mr. Biden as his campaign, now slipping in polls and spending more than it takes in, has begun to show signs of vulnerability.
It's a political marriage, and it always was a political marriage.
Stephen Levingston, an editor for the Washington Post, is the author of Barack and Joe, The Making of an Extraordinary Partnership, published in October.
The photos didn't lie. The video we saw of them having a good time together, that's all true. And they really did and probably still do adore each other. But Obama has a first priority, and I think that's to get a Democrat elected. He can't really spend his political capital on his good buddy right now if it turns out that Biden doesn't get the nomination. Then where is he? He's already sort of put himself forward in a way so that his promotion later of anybody else would suffer.
The former president's office has released a statement noting the special bond he forged with Mr. Biden, praising his insight and judgment. But even in 2016, when the vice president was considering entering the Democratic primary, the book Barack and Joe reports, President Obama gently but firmly guided him in the other direction. On Capitol Hill, James Rosen.
And let's head over to our website that's on a story that's trending this morning. Nationals pitcher Sean Doolittle told the Washington Post he will not join his teammates when they visit the White House. The Nationals parade will occur on November 11th, and the Nationals are set to attend the White House, but Doolittle cited some of President Trump's policies, including immigration, and his justification for declining the visit. For more on the story, and you can read more on his explanation, you could go to WGXA.tv.
And early today, these temperatures are rising pretty quickly. We're already seeing Monticello and Sparta at 45. That's a 4-degree increase in the past 2 hours. I know it doesn't sound like very much, but the sun just came up just a little bit ago, and that's going to help these temperatures rise very quickly between now and lunchtime. So if you're going to be going out there, make sure to grab a light jacket. You are going to need it for the first part of the day today, or you can go ahead and get a long sleeve shirt. But keep in mind, if you go with a long sleeve shirt and you don't like temperatures in the 60s, I do think that you are going to be kind of regretting putting that on, mostly because 67 is going to be our high temperature. We're going to spend a lot of time in the 60s out there. Now, of course, if you get cold easily, that's why I think the long sleeve shirt will be very useful. And of course, you're not going to have way too much in the way of cloud cover out there. So plenty of clouds for both the afternoon and the evening. And then when we get into tomorrow morning, that's when the small rain chances move in, and I'll talk more about that in just a second. But let's talk about the wind real quick. I don't think it's going to be necessarily strong across the area, but you do notice the direction here. It's mostly coming out of the northeast. So what that does for us is bring us a lot of that humidity that we see whenever we do have a north wind or even an east wind, because the Atlantic Ocean's not too far away. All that air is going to be coming towards here. So it's going to be dry for this morning, but you're going to begin to feel that humidity later on this evening. And whenever that front gets closer to us, that weaker cold front will start to feed off that humidity a bit and even bring us some smaller rain chances out there. Now, I don't think we're in for a lot of heavy rain chances for tomorrow morning. Instead, it's mostly going to be those lighter showers pushing in. I do think there might be a small chance here of us to see maybe 1 or 2 areas of heavy rain, but things like thunderstorms, those are unlikely. Things like hail, that's unlikely as well. So I think we're looking pretty good in that department. And we should be all clear by about 1 or 2 o'clock. Now, of course, this is going to be a weaker front. So what that's going to do to our temperatures is not really too much at all. In fact, that next stronger cold front will be pushing in as we get into Friday. That is when we can expect a big temperature drop once again, with with highs going down to about 60 degrees for both Friday and Saturday after we spend a couple days in the 70s. I think Wednesday and Thursday look great. In fact, those are my two favorite days here over the next 10 days because after we get past this weekend, a lot of us are going to be staying in the 60s all the way through the following weekend after that, and these low temperatures could consistently get in the 30s as we get into this weekend as well. And now here's going to be a quick look at your fish and game forecast brought to you by Harrison's Body Shop. The best time for later today will be around 8 o'clock.
An escaped Morgan County, Alabama inmate was found around 6:23 this morning. There was a massive search this morning with multiple agencies. The Morgan County Sheriff's Office says the escapee, who goes by the name Caleb, is a registered sex offender. He was found with a 16-year-old girl who was reported missing. Caleb escaped yesterday afternoon.
One pilot turned a fairway into a runway after a plane was forced to make an emergency landing on a north suburban golf course in Chicago, Illinois.
Emergency move, a pilot successfully turned a fairway into a runway after the single-engine Cessna 150 with one other person on board landed at the Glen Club golf course. The FAA says this happened just before 2:30 Sunday afternoon after the pilot reported engine trouble. The general manager of the Glen Club and a flight instructor with the Chicago Executive Airport says the plane came from the nearby airport and is connected to a flight school.
We could see it outside of our window.
Neighbors who live along the golf course say this was quite the uncommon sight.
I'm really glad that everybody's okay. You know, like it's Glenview. These things don't really happen very often up here. So we're glad that they got, a safe landing.
The general manager of the Glen Club was told that there was a pilot and a student inside that Cessna 150, and authorities say there were no injuries in this emergency landing.
Anticipated return of the Popeyes chicken sandwich making headlines yet again.